Yo, what's good? What's up, everybody? Hey, what's up, man? How's everybody doing out there? Yeah. Happy Wednesday, man. Happy Wednesday. How's everybody? Yeah. All right, man. All right. Hey, man. Listen. I know this is not a politics podcast, obviously, so we don't talk about that over here. But yeah, today happened. It happened and it's happening. Hi, Mom. But yeah, man, we're not gonna talk about that over here. I hope everybody is doing good. I hope everyone has had a good week so far. And welcome, man. I hope everybody is having a great week. Honestly, let's just get right into the shits, man. Let's start with this right here.
You'll never lap over each other.
No, always. They were really big on, having 10 to 15 foot spacing. Always.
So this is what I want to know, right?
We have counters that come around that.
I used to hate when Robert Orr used to come up to the box, free throw line, grab the ball, and you back cut.
Yeah.
I used to be looking for that back cut every time.
Yeah, that's the backdoor step, right?
Yeah.
So, but that helped me game plan.
Yeah.
So, these players now play accidental basketball, and it drives me and Phil crazy because it's all penetrating pitch. You may make the shot, you may not. You have no idea who's going to be open or whatever. It's accidental basketball. We play basketball with purpose. Mm-hmm. If I got the ball, if Derek Fisher's on the wing, I'm at the top. I know by scouting reports that you guys like to deny the top.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, cool. Deny the top. I'll move up a little bit more, drag you out. Here comes Ori stepping in the hole. Catch it. Here I go back door. There's the drop. Off I go.
Yeah.
All right. So it's playing those sequences and understanding what the defense is going to do against it that made them dangerous. That's why Chicago was so dangerous, because they knew how Utah was going to play these actions.
And so there is Kobe talking about accidental hooping on accident. And we're going to be talking all about that today. But before we get into that, welcome to another episode of the Jayson Estrera Show, where we talk about basketball, sports, and any other topic that comes our way as accurate as possible. Now, today, we are going to be talking about the NBA returning after one day off yesterday. They had a full slate of games on Monday night, 15 games, all 30 teams played. And the standings has been kind of a big thing lately, right? In the Eastern Conference, right, there are only two teams that have a winning record. That being the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are undefeated, and the Boston Celtics, right? So when we go from that to the Western Conference, let's see. Currently, we have 9 teams that are above 500 that have a winning record. A bunch of them are 4-3 and it could have gone the other way. And so obviously the bad teams are really struggling. And honestly, that was kind of my takeaway from the first 2 weeks as well, too. That's why I was talking the other day about this early part of the season. The games are a little bit sloppy, but the teams don't look great. I feel like there's a big disparity right now between the best teams in the league and the rest of the NBA, right? So let's start with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right? Because let's run down the teams that they beat. They beat the Bucks 116-114, and then they also beat the Bucks. We'll be going backwards here. The Bucks 114-113. The Magic without Paolo Banchero 120-109. The Lakers, which was the Bronny's homecoming in Ohio, 134-110. They beat my Knicks 110-104. The Wizards 135-116. The Pistons, and then the Raptors. Now, in that list, the Bucks were supposed to be a challenge, but as we've come to find out, they're not very good this year. And then when you look at the rest of the teams that they have beaten, you know, you have the Wizards in there. You have the Lakers, which last year they weren't very good either. Them having a good stretch is actually a positive thing right now, right? And they are 4-3, also above 500 in the West. So really, the shocker being the Bucks sucking, and then the New York Knicks being in transition. Those are really the only two teams in this stretch that should have given Cleveland problems, right? So that's 3 out of the 8 games that they should have had a hard time. But like I said, the Knicks are in a transition, and I've had my reservations about them, and the Bucks absolutely suck. The rest of these teams, they should have beat, especially with the Magic losing Paolo. So is their hot start more to do with their schedule, or are they really a legitimate team? Now, we talked about accidental basketball for a reason, right? Because a lot of the modern NBA is predicated on driving and kicking to get shooter shots. And I think that there are some teams that obviously do that much better than others. And then you have a less a type of game that isn't accidental. And for my example of those teams, we'll look at the Boston Celtics and the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? I think, you know, Oklahoma City is still a little bit pick and roll heavy, but I do think that they do a lot of things in terms of cutting and getting people open. That's not just a high pick and roll and we'll find a shooter to kick to. When you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, though, they are more of the high pick and roll, heavy type of offense. And for comparison, I think that their style is a little bit closer to like the Dallas Mavericks, right? And the advantage that the Cleveland Cavaliers have in this modern basketball is their 2 guards are shooters in Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Yeah, they can score, and you know, some people might call them scorers, right? But they are shooters that can score, and there's a very distinct difference, right? We'll run through this a little bit real quick. A Kevin Durant is a shooter that can score. A Devin Booker is a shooter that can score. Luka Doncic is a scorer that can shoot. And even Kyrie Irving, even though I think he's become an elite 3-point shooter, he's a scorer that could shoot. And so on and so forth. I think especially coming in, Jason Tatum was probably considered more of a shooter that could score. And, you know, he's become a bit more versatile as his career has gone on, right? But the Cleveland Cavaliers being able to play high pick and roll offense with 2 guys that can come off of that pick and roll and shoot the basketball makes them extremely dangerous. And the other part in that, kind of like the Dallas Mavericks, right? When the other player is off the ball, if Darius Garland is on the ball and Mitchell is off of it, or vice versa, that other person is not useless. They are damn near just as dangerous off of the ball as they are on the ball. And so when you have two players like that, and then you have a Mobley whose game seems to be developing and plays towards the rim, which is really key in this, right? You have a Jared Allen plays to the rim, can hit little hook shots and step throughs and get layups at the rim. It's important to balance the game, right? So when they do run the pick and roll, it leaves the defense in this situation where you have to pick. Are you gonna switch it? Is the big in a drop coverage? What's the low man doing? So on and so forth. So even though they play this high pick and roll offense that's still kind of drive and kick, it's not accidental because you have two guys that could really, really shoot the basketball and play make. So you can put either one of them on the ball, and then their bigs are consistent in, if you're gonna help, then there's an alley-oop over the top. If not, they can get the ball, put it on the ball, put the ball on the floor one time and make a play. Mobley can shoot. They're just super dynamic. And granted, I think that their schedule has ended up a little bit easier, right? When you look at the teams that they've played, I do think that they are showing that they are a strong team. They're a young team. And then when you look on their defense, right, on the defensive side of the ball, they're super active. That opposite corner, that weak side corner guy is always rotating, getting back. That fills in the gaps, right? So it allows the strong side of the defense to be able to play up because they know that the guy in the back is paying attention to what's going on. So they get to play aggressive defense and they get to play hounding defense. And all of those things put together, I think, has made them a very good basketball team. Now, to talk about the Dallas Mavericks really quick, right? Because in my opinion, they are probably the best example that we have at the moment of having two scoring guards in Doncic and Irving that's very high pick and roll heavy, and there are still a lot of standing around when you watch them play, but they do it at such an elite level. And it starts with having a Daniel Gafford and a Derek Lively. That picker becomes really dangerous for the Dallas Mavericks, right? Because especially, a Luka Doncic that likes to get towards the basket, right? It puts that defender in a really awkward situation when you have a 6'9" Luka Doncic and a 7-footer in Gafford and Lively attacking the rim. And then if you overcommit, you have the step back by Luka that he loves to shoot. On the other side, I've spoken about how good Kyrie Irving is, right? I think he's the ultimate complement to Luka. I don't think any other guard would be able to do quite what Kyrie does with Luka Doncic. He's like a Kevin Durant almost, where I think if you told Kyrie to go get 30 points on 12 shot attempts, I think he'd be able to do it. He's so efficient. His timing when to go get buckets is just so spot on. Has such a great awareness of the game, the way rhythm and flow works. And he's gotten so efficient as a scorer. He's just the perfect complement. And then when you add the fact that he is such a great shooter as well, right? Kyrie really makes this duo, this partnership with Luka work, in my opinion, right? And then when you add a Klay Thompson, I think Klay Thompson adds a dimension to them that they didn't have, right? I think Klay Thompson has added has added some organization to their offense because they have to run sets for Klay Thompson now. But now when they run a set for Klay Thompson, if you watch it, it creates openings on the weak side because he'll pull defenses. It opens up back doors. It opens up pass and picks with Luka Doncic. Klay Thompson adds so much to this team. And he's, he can come off of the pick and roll, dribble handoffs. He adds so much to them, like I said, and he, edges them towards this, non-accidental basketball because he forces them to play in some sets that they weren't really playing in before. And so I think in that sense, Klay is super, super valuable, right? And like I said, I think the Dallas Mavericks have probably the best example of making two one-on-one players work in this high pick and roll style, dribble and kick offense, this modern NBA type of offense. Now, on the other side of that, the non-accidental basketball, I think the Boston Celtics are probably the best example of that. A lot of their sets in their offense, the sequences start off very similar. If it's a Derek White, pick and pop with JT to try to get a mismatch, the double high pick and roll with their two bigs that they like to run. But the thing about them is they have all of the counters. Okay, well, if you're going to cut me off this way, we can go that way. Excuse me. And you have all of their pieces are damn near interchangeable. Tatum can run the high pick and roll. Drew, White, Brown, Pritchard off the bench. You have Biggs and Al Horford and Kristaps who can not only shoot the basketball, but they could put the ball on the floor and make a play. They're willing passers and good passers. They're hitting backdoor cuts. A lot of their threes are really wide open because of the way that they run their offense. And even though they put up a lot of 3-point shots, like I said, a lot of them are pretty good shots. I mean, honestly, outside of Tatum, they don't really take a lot of contested threes, if we're being honest. And so I think they do a phenomenal job of mixing some of that old school basketball where you'll see guys in spots, they're cutting to open spots. They're back screening, they're flaring out. They're doing a lot of these things that the rest of the NBA just isn't doing anymore. And they do it mixed with a lot of the modern NBA, with the high pick and roll, with the 3-point shooting. They just do it, like I said, in a way that's really high level. And the other night when we had a big game, when Cat had like 40. No, sorry, it was the night when Brunson had like 36 or whatever in like 35 minutes. The offense that they were playing that night, it was incredible because it was a lot of exactly what I was just saying. Nothing was by accident. Everything was with purpose, right? So, okay, we've gotten a bunch of threes. OG will get in the post up, try to make a play. Cat was the same thing. We've done a bunch of pick and rolls. All right, post up. Okay, that doesn't work. You'll see him flash out to the 3-point line, waiting for a shot while Brunson is doing his thing. They cheat. He gets a wide open 3. Okay, next time they're going to come up. He's going to drive on this guy. Constantly making adjustments. And for the most part, when it comes to the New York Knicks, I'm being honest, the person that does that the most by themselves is Brunson. That's why I don't totally have faith that they'll keep doing it as a team, but that would be the goal, right? Everyone is touching the ball. They're getting a lot of easy buckets, not a bunch of one-on-one step-back shots. Because you don't win consistently. You don't win NBA basketball games doing that. And so that's the style of play that I think all of these teams need to be striving for. And then when you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, it's the same thing. They have two guys that can run a lot of one-on-one in SGA and in Jalen Williams, which is great. But their guys are flashing to elbows, flashing to the free throw line, getting mid-range shots, getting backdoor cuts to the basket. It's beautiful basketball, really. It really, really is. It's not accidental. They know exactly where their shots are going to come from, how they're going to get them, when they're going to get them. And it creates for, you know, some people wonder like, oh, how did they come back? Or, you know, against a bad team, for example, they're losing and then they come back. They're like, how did they do that? Well, when you have a consistent style that's not dependent on makes and misses, meaning you're getting the same shots, you're getting the shots that you want, and sometimes they're just not going in. But eventually the tide is going to turn. The percentages, the law of averages is going to go in your favor, and you're going to start making a couple of them. And the good teams stick to their game plan. They keep doing what they're doing. They get good shots. They run their offense, and eventually they can come back and win these games. Which leads me to the other part, right? To branch off of this conversation on accidental basketball, which is win conditions, right? It's like, you know, when if you guys have ever played like 2K, for example, right? And you go into coaches settings and, okay, well, how do you want to play offense? Do you want to, it's like shoot at will, you know, get to the paint, play through the star. And then on defense, are you going to play physical? Are you going to crash the board? Are you going to leak out? All of these things, right? It's a very simplified version, and it dumbs it down. But it really talks about what are your win conditions. I know we spoke the other day about the Giannis quote on them not having an identity, right? The good teams that don't play accidental basketball, they know what their win conditions are. They know what things need to happen in order for them to win, and they know how to get there. And just like any good team, they have a plan B, and if need be, a plan C. Like, if you look at the Boston Celtics, they're going to play tough defense. They're going to switch everything. And their point of attack really starts with Derek White and Drew Holiday. That's sort of their identity on defense. Drew and Derek White are their initial point of attack because they can attack the perimeter players. And then Porzingis, Tatum are just there for cleanup. And then Jaylen Brown can kind of do everything. So he can switch. He can guard the bigs. He can guard the guards. He can play man-to-man. He can be help defense. They have their identity on defense. And then on offense, they're going to shoot a lot of three-pointers. They're going to run a lot of their offense through Tatum. But along with that, they have, you know, their Derek White sets, their Drew Holiday sets, and their Jaylen Brown ISOs. They know exactly how they're going to win games. So, for example, Tatum isn't going. All right, we could try to get him going with a Derek White pick and pop and see if he can get a mismatch and try to go that way. Okay, that's not working. Guys sagging off Derek White. Derek White could shoot. Drew can do the same thing. All right, that's not working. Jaylen Brown gets to go and play isolation basketball on the weak side. There's no wondering how a Boston Celtics game is going to look. When you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, it's the same thing. You know exactly what you're going to get. SGA is going to have his isolation plays, but everyone is going to play off of that. Chet Holmgren is going to be a menace on offense and on defense. And on defense, they hound everyone, and their point of attack is Lou Dort. They have size and length 1 through 5, and they have an identity. Their win condition, it's very clear. Right? It's very, very clear. And part of the reason why the Dallas Mavericks, for example, was able to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder was on offense, Luka was able to take Lou Dort out of the game. So when your initial point of attack isn't able to be himself, right? That's why you saw PJ Washington get going in that series. Kyrie was also being a facilitator, picking his spots, right? Because their whole thing was to stop Luka Doncic, and Luka used that to their advantage. And then in Minnesota, pick on Rudy Gobert, right? Like for example, the Dallas Mavericks, that's their identity, right? They match up hunt with Luka Doncic, right? They're gonna match up hunt. Everyone's spread out, and we play. Kyrie is going to score on like 60% of his isolation plays, super efficient. He knows when to get shots up. They know their identity. And, you know, for them, their defense just needs to be able to do enough to keep a game close so that you have Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. That's really their identity. They're not predicated on being this defensive juggernaut of a team. Their whole defense is essentially, we need to be able to keep the game close enough so that Luka and Kyrie can win this game. So what is your team's win conditions? And that's kind of why I was skeptical about the New York Knicks, right? Through those playoffs, our only win condition was Jalen Brunson getting 45. He was just going to figure a way to go and win the game. I get that. Yes, Josh Hart was going to do his thing. DiVincenzo was going to hit his shots, but that was their identity on offense. And then on defense, it was about being physical. It was about hounding everyone, right? But on offense, they were pretty much relying on one guy, especially in the playoffs. And you know, now you add Karl Anthony Towns, you add a Mikal Bridges. Excuse me. It leads it leads towards a adjustment period that's necessary for a team to become good. So, you know, what is your team's win conditions? Under what circumstances are they going to win games? Do they play accidental or non-accidental basketball? And like I said, I think most of the NBA right now plays accidental basketball. We're going to play high pick and roll, and we're going to see what happens. Right? They're not putting people in spots. People aren't cutting at certain times to force the defense to react. A lot of this right now is the offensive guys, and I think that's why, you know, offensive players take so much pride, is they're kind of just reacting to everything. It's not, I know how to get this switch so that I can get this matchup. I know if this person goes over here, I can go behind this guy. This guy drives, I get a shot over here. It's not like that. And I know that we started this. Kobe was talking about the triangle. You know, if you've ever played the triangle offense in 2K, like when the Knicks in 2012 or whatever, you learned how to manipulate that offense. You learned how to get a one-on-one on the weak side for Carmelo Anthony. You learned how to make certain passes, who to get it to, so that you can get a swing into an ISO on at the elbow. You know, those things were possible. And then, you know, if someone helps or cheats over, this guy's cutting, this guy's setting a back screen for this person, so on and so forth. And like I said, I think the NBA right now is kind of missing that. And, you know, it would really be great. It would really be great to get some of that back. Because like I said, when you see the best teams in the league right now, they're not playing this accidental basketball bullshit. Now, let's move right along. We're going to talk a little bit about Joel Embiid getting suspended for allegedly shoving this reporter. And I know I refer to Gilbert Arenas and crew a lot, right? But they shed some light on, you know, something that we aren't really privy to, and it was the timing in which this happened, right? Friday night, Joel Embiid had made those comments about a October 23 article that this gentleman had wrote, referring to his, you know, brother and his son, right? And you know, they basically said you should have revoked this guy's media pass on that Saturday game because one, Joel Embiid wasn't playing. So in that scenario, he's looking for this guy. And two, you just put Joel Embiid in that position. He told y'all what he was going to do. And I'm a big believer in, if someone tells you who they are, what they're going to do, you better just believe them. Instead of walking around thinking you're invincible and then some shit happens when they told you what was going to happen. You can't play victim in that scenario, in my opinion. And so the NBA suspends him now. 3-game suspension when he's eligible to play, right? And on one hand, I want to say that Joel Embiid, like, you got to be better than that. You have to have self-control. You got to do X, Y, and Z. And I see a lot of folks arguing whether or not they mentioned something about his brother and his son that was disrespectful, right? What I've learned in life is this, y'all. You can't enforce your beliefs on somebody else. Everybody don't play the same. So if that boundary was crossed for this man, then that boundary was crossed. There's nothing you or I could say that changes that, because the reason he has that boundary is because of whatever his life experiences are. And let's be honest, some of these reporters talk real spicy because they know that these guys can't do anything. They know. And Joel Embiid literally said, I'm going to have to face those consequences. Meaning, he already thought about this and understands that if he does something, something will come with it. He's not going to react and do something and not get punished. He knew that going in. So if the NBA or the Philadelphia 76ers did have the ability to revoke this guy's media pass, they should have done it. Because now you put this guy in a predicament. You put him in the line of fire, knowing damn well what he just said. And when it comes to man shit, when it comes to family, when it comes to you defending your family, you defending your honor, you can't tell somebody else what is or isn't worth it for them. Because that might have been worth it for him. Fuck this guy. You don't say that shit. And there's a lot of people that want to have their opinion when we're not in his situation. We're not the ones that get to react. He has to react in real time with all of these cameras on him. And now that he's having a real reaction to it in real time, he's getting punished for it. And like I said, this guy gets to have his 5 seconds of fame. Put his hands on him, he's gonna get suspended, right? But because that's the rule, right? There's rules in place, right? But I can't blame him for his reaction at all. Like it is what it is, right? Everything that you do has a consequence, right or wrong. Like right or wrong, right? Like it's just how shit works. And like I said, I can't blame Joel Embiid for the way that he reacted to that, because who the fuck are we to tell him how to and or how not to react? But I just wanted to touch on this real quick. But James Johnson said that he could beat John Jones in an MMA fight. And that he's been doing MMA his whole life. And as far as stand-up, he feels like he has an advantage. Listen, I get that in the MMA space right now, John Jones is getting, he's getting laughed at for not fighting for a while, and Francis and Pereira and all this shit, right? And I'm sure James Johnson got hands. But as someone that's done MMA, you should know how powerful wrestling is in this sport. And to say that, it's just a long list of a lot of these NBA guys talking about they could do all this shit that everyone else does. And it's like, whoa. We got to start calming down at some point. You got to respect these people for who they are, like the GOATs in this other space. I don't know what this is. All of a sudden, everybody thinks they could play every other sport. We got to chill out. And I get that James Johnson is probably much bigger than John Jones. So in that sense, in terms of striking and keeping distance, I'm trying to picture it, right? But if that man gets his hands on you, what do you do? What do you do? This guy does MMA every day. You a basketball player. But yeah, and then is there any there's I guess my last thing, right? There's this guy on Instagram that I've been seeing, and I'm not trying to be a hater at all. I swear to God, man. His name is Strong by Science, and he talks about being a 32-year-old dad trying to go pro. He was a D3 college hooper, and he's getting a ton of support, which is go for your dreams. And he obviously clarifies professional isn't just the NBA, which totally get. I'm not trying to bash on anybody's shit, right? But he talks about being a coach and teaching kids. I feel like at some point when it comes to loving the game of basketball, it's got to be beyond yourself. Like Chris Brickley has talked about, never showing highlights of himself. It's all about the people that he trains. I was just watching Gilbert Arenas on what is it? Where is this shit right now? Because it's everywhere. Gilbert Arenas on Real Ones. For what's his name, dog? On John Bernthal, right? So John Bernthal was interviewing Gilbert Arenas, and there was this great part about his dad, and how Gil's dad really shaped the way that he is, and he always asks his dad, he's like, Dad, how did you keep so positive? Like, you were never that good, and da 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 da. And he said something along the lines of, because his dad was an aspiring actor, he went to Hollywood to become a star, and he accomplished that, which was Gilbert Arenas. And he didn't do it knowingly, but all of his positivity rubbed off on Gilbert Arenas, and now Gil has this mentality of, my sons are going to be better than me. The future, it's all about the future. I had my time and my opportunity, but now it's on me to pass this knowledge along to the next generation. It's for the game. So, it's not just his kid becoming a great basketball player, but it's this idea of, you're supposed to be better than me. I'm going to give you all of the tools and the knowledge. And when I saw this guy, and it's great that he gets a following, because I think he can use that to be able to spread awareness and knowledge on basketball, right? But in college, he was D3. At what point does it become about the kids and pushing this game forward? Spreading that, I guess he's still spreading the love of the game in his own way, but at what point is it not about us anymore, and it's about the game itself? Like I said, not trying to hate on what he's trying to do, but as a guy, he's in shape. He can really push these kids. He could really, really push these kids, and I hope he does. Hey, you are fucking doing everything, dog. That's good, Elijah. But yeah, I was just talking about this 32-year-old guy on Instagram. His name is Strong by Science, who's trying to be a professional basketball player at the age of 32. And I just feel like, he could be using that to really push the next generation of hoopers forward, instead of just trying to pursue a professional career. Because you're 32, bro. like it just is what it is, and hopefully he uses his platform in a positive way, to be able to train kids moving forward. But like I said, it's got to be about passing the information along, and I refer to C. Brickley never posts his highlights or never posts him doing stuff, because it's all about the people he trains. That's what it's all about. It's all about, like, the guy from Cameroon, or the corporate hooper. Yeah. I actually like the corporate hooper a lot, because he don't, like, I don't know, I just like his message. I like what he's all about. He's not trying to be something he's not. He's just a park hooper that likes to play, you know what I'm saying? I like that message. I just think like being 32, trying to go professional still. Like, I get the perseverance and all that stuff, but I don't know, dog. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I think when you've gathered so much knowledge in this game, it's about paying it forward and giving it up. That's kind of like what we're trying to do over here, right? Like, we're trying to just pass this knowledge along that, my dad gave to me, right? And that I've just learned from watching the game, just trying to pass it along to whoever is willing to listen. But that's the goal, yeah. So there's more games tonight. Let me see how many games are actually going on tonight, bro. Let's see. Schedule. Games. Warriors Celtics tonight. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central. Gotta watch that shit. You gotta see if Jason Tatum gonna drop 50 on Steve Kerr. Who else do we want to see tonight? I think I'm gonna go take a closer look at the Phoenix Suns. Probably 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. I think the Thunder are gonna beat up on the Nuggets again. I'm not gonna lie to you. 32 being a rook is 45-50 in the club, still looking for love. Like, yeah, like you know what I'm talking about. Like, there's nothing wrong with trying to compete, but like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. And I think like I said, I probably sound like a hater because like there's a lot. He's getting a ton of support. Like, he's trying to follow his dreams. Like, nobody should ever tell you no. All that shit is great. But yeah, it's just. Like, he was a D3 hooper in college. Like, in college, you wasn't even D1. Like, in your physical prime. like, what the fuck? But yeah, like I said, I think it's paying it forward is really dope. Elijah, if you get a chance, you should check out the Gilbert Arenas interview with John Bernthal. It's called Real Ones. He talks a lot about his dad, which was really touching for me. It really hit home. And just a lot of shit, like loving the game. It was just a really cool interview. But like I said, we have games tonight. That's gonna do it for me. We're right back at it. I don't know did I freeze? Because I just saw you put it's not happening, buddy, 3 times. I don't know. I didn't see nothing on my end. But like I said, that's going to do it for me for now. We're going to catch the games tonight. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me as always. I know there wasn't too much to talk about. Not too much drama. We're just talking some basketball today, which I really kind of liked. We're just talking about hooping. So yeah, that was really, really fun. I appreciate y'all so much as always. But before I get out of here, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really, really helps the channel out. We're trying to take this shit to the moon as always. And you guys could have been anywhere on the internet, but y'all were here with me. I appreciate y'all for that, man. So I'll see y'all later. Y'all have a great Wednesday. You have a great week. I'll see you back here on Friday, man. Peace out, peace out, peace out.